Leif Erikson was a Nordic explorer who was thought to be the first European to ever set foot in North America. Approximately half a millennium before Christopher Columbus, he was said to have established a Norse settlement at Vinland. He was a very famous Nordic explorer. Leif Erikson was said to have been born in Iceland, although this hasn't been confirmed due to the lack of sources. He was born in the year 970 CE and was the middle son of Eric the Red and his wife Thujod. He had three siblings, his brothers Thorstein and Thorvald. He also had a sister named Fridis. In 999 CE, Leif Erikson and his crew set out from Greenland to visit Norway. Once they reached Norway, Leif Erikson converted to Christianity and was tasked with introducing it to Greenland. On his return to Greenland, he talks about Christianity and converting his mother, since she was the person who made the first ever church in Greenland. Leif Erikson heard a story of a traveler named Vigen Hirslöfen who was trying to find Greenland with his crew that was blown off course and looked at the land with mountains, hills, forests to the west. He sailed out to explore this so-called land and encountered a land of ice and stone they called Hylland, land of flat stones. He also found a forested area with white shores and he named it Markland, which meaning woodland. This land is somewhere in the Labrador of modern-day Canada. When this did not fit the description of Virgin Huscog discovered, he kept on sailing because it wasn't what he believed. After sailing southwest for a long time, they eventually encountered places they were looking for. They landed and established a camp, explored the land with good building timber, grapes, wheat growing in large amounts. Leif called the land Vinland. He and his crew stayed there until spring, loaded resources from the land to give to their people, and sailed back to Greenland. When they were sailing back, they saw a shipwreck and rescued two sailors on the way. When he returned to Greenland, he never set foot on North American shores ever again. After his father died, he became the chief of the Greenland settlement. Leif Erikson has many achievements, such as being the first European to ever explore what is now eastern Canada, founding many lands like Hylland and Markland. Another achievement, which is his most famed one, was the discovery of Vinland and colonization of it. Leif Erikson has many achievements, such as being the first European. The discoveries of the Americas were quite shocking, as they were mainly an accidental find by Leif Erikson. Leif was attempting to find lands that Bjarne Helfson saw. In his attempt to find them, he ended up discovering and naming Helluland and Markland, but failed to find what he was seeking for, until a sudden and rogue storm hit Leif Erikson's ship and blew them off course while they were heading back to Greenland. Thanks to this storm, this led to Leif ending up landing on the coast of Americas and naming the area Vinland, which is a modern-day area in Canada. People thought Christopher Columbus was the person who discovered North America in 1492, but that information was wrong. The person who discovered North America is Leif Erikson, a Viking. Leif Erikson, to America and immortality. The era of Leif Erikson was also known as the era of the Vikings. They came from countries originating in the Scandinavia region, such as Finland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Iceland. Leif Erikson was known as Eric the Red because his hair was red. He was a prominent leader in battle. He spent years in Iceland, but eventually discovered Greenland with his father, creating colonies. Erikson had two sons. Their names were Thorgus Leif and Thorkel Leif. He started to explore. It was in his blood to explore. Once he was ready, he gathered his crew of 35 people and traveled without any navigational equipment such as maps or compasses to guide him. He eventually sailed to an undiscovered land he named Vinland. This is part of what we now know as North America, Canada. It was an excellent achievement for Erikson, but no one believed it was true. It was unbelievable that a Viking could discover North America. People thought Christopher Columbus was the person who discovered America, until modern explorers found out that there were artifacts in Canada that had been there since Leif Erikson's voyage, which proved that he was the one who discovered America, not Christopher Columbus. His achievements are remembered by the United States of America for making statues of him. Leif Erikson will be recognized as the first person to ever discover North America. Leif Erikson has many achievements, such as being the first European to explore what is now eastern Canada. He founded Helluland and Markland. He also spread Christianity and preaching it in Greenland. Leif Erikson and Christopher Columbus did have some things in common. For starters, they were both slave owners and treated their slaves differently. Leif treated his slaves more positively, while Columbus treated his slaves more negatively. They both had the same passion, trading and exploring. Leif enjoyed trading and exploring, although he favored exploring far more. He dedicated himself to finding new routes and discovering lands from stories, which also led to the discovery of Vinland after hearing a story from one of the fellow explorers. Columbus was more dedicated towards trading, and his initial reason for discovering the Americas was actually not non-intentional. It was sort of an accident, just like Leif Erikson. He was attempting to find a new trade route to India, but ended up landing in North America and began exploring that, which led to the colonization of the New World, aka North America. Of coastal North America explored by the Viking Leif Erikson. At around 1000 AD, it was geographically perfect for its temporary colonization by the Nordic people, featuring fine wood, fertile soil, grapes and crops, and with the lands being protected by hills, its cold climate didn't even bother the Nordic people as they were really used to it. During the time period of 986 to 1014 AD, Vinland was discovered and colonized. After the discovery of Vinland, Thor Keflarsni, Leif Erikson's wife, set out to Vinland with 2 ships, each filled with 150 Norwegians, Icelandics, and Greenlanders to colonize the lands of Vinland. They had to rebuild houses from when Leif Erikson landed on the ground with his crew, taking several months to complete. Vinland was hailed by the Norse people as the land of riches. The first to set foot on this land was Leif Erikson, who was the son of Eric the Red, who first founded the Norse settlement on Greenland. When Leif Erikson arrived in Vinland, he was bringing its produce, timber, and furs back to Greenland and Iceland. The Nordic people lived in Vinland for several years. A few years after the colonization of Vinland, the Vikings living in Vinland had their first encounter. With the natives they called Skrælings, their relations at the start were peaceful, and the natives were very interested about their cattle, armor, and resources. They became trading partners in which they traded wool, milk, with the natives. The natives also traded back natural resources which were used to help build and upgrade their colony. But the natives wanted to see a Viking sword, so one of them picked up a sword inside one of the Vikings' house. But after the owner discovered the native, he killed him on the spot, and the rest of the trading natives ran away. Karthedish warned everyone to prepare for a battle, as the natives were going to attack indefinitely. They had to prepare, and even though they won the recent battles after the natives attacked, they couldn't stay for longer due to several reasons. Since it costed too much to run the colony, natives were continuously trying to attack Vinland and the harsh winters. It was considered for a while, but it was deemed necessary to abandon and destroy the colony. Leif Erikson died sometime between 1019 and 10,025 CE, but the exact cause of his death is unknown. He was a Nordic explorer and is considered the first European to voyage North America. That starts on October 9th and honors the Norse explorer Leif Erikson. On September 2nd, 1964, Congress and the President approved of making Leif Erikson a holiday on October 9th every year. It's not celebrated as often due to the lack of knowledge of people even knowing about the day, or Leif Erikson, since it's contrary to popular belief that Christopher Columbus was the first European to land in America. Even though Christopher Columbus was not the first European to land in America, his work should still be appreciated for his permanent colonization of the Americas that allowed for modern-day countries in North America. So thank you to Leif Erikson and Christopher Columbus. This is a production made by a group of 8th graders attending Lincoln Community School. Video editing and voiceover and script was completed by Yassine. Script and process paper was completed by Justin. Voiceover and script was completed by Tyson. This documentary took a long time to make, so thank you for watching this documentary.